Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Shamrocks Sportscast. Time is 7:42 in the morning, but we're going to have Sam come in later. He's just running a little late right now. In the studio today, we have Rocks basketball star Trey Buchanan. Trey, introduce yourself.
Hello, Trey Buchanan.
All right, we're going to be talking about just some questions that we had throughout the season thus far. 2-0 on the season already, big wins over Kokomo and Pendleton.
Yep.
What was the locker room like, or the bus like, after those wins?
Man, the locker room after the Kokomo game was wild. There's throwing a lot of water everywhere and guys celebrating because obviously Kokomo game not only was it the first game of the season to get us off on the right track, but obviously playing against 5-star and playing against a team that knocked us out the playoffs last year and beating them was pretty huge. And obviously Pendleton game was a little less wild just because that was a game like we had to take care of business and win, and which I'm glad we did. But yeah, it was a lot of fun after those wins.
What is this team's biggest strength thus far?
I would say how well we played together as a team. I think last year we had a lot of really good individual talent, but I feel like for us to win more games this year and for us to be able to win the games we've played so far, we've just played really well together as a team and as a whole. So,
Sam, we're gonna let Sam come in here. He's just a tad bit late.
Sorry, some car troubles. I apologize.
It's all right. We already started the episode just for the sake of time. So
yeah, Trey, how you doing?
Doing great, Sam.
Good, man.
All right. I've already asked them about the couple wins that they have already this season.
Okay.
I asked them what their biggest strength is. Do you have any opening questions here?
Yeah, sure. So obviously, big holes to fill with Braden leaving last year. What did you learn from him that sort of allowed you to step into that lead guard role?
I would say just not anything specific with like his skill. Obviously, he's a very skillful player, but I think just his leadership qualities as a whole. I think the way he kind of was an extra coach for our team, not like on the court. He was like kind of a Chris Paul for our basketball team, and
That's a great way to put it.
I think that's kind of what I need to do this year. Is he left? So
Yeah.
Who's the best motivator on the team so far?
Motivator. Probably Coach Hampton.
Really?
Staff, yeah. He just brings a lot of energy and just makes it a lot of fun. I guess he just brings all the energy to our team for each game.
Who's the funniest kid on the team?
Funniest kid.
I think I have an answer for this.
I think probably Cooper Jackson, to be honest.
Yeah, as it should be.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Mop, but yeah, that works.
Mop's a ball of energy, but like Coop's probably the funniest.
I mean, there's a collection of guys of characters on that roster.
Yeah, definitely.
So obviously you talked about the win so far this season. What do you think that you guys have done well so far, and what are you looking to improve on as the season goes on?
I think we've played really good together as a team so far, and I think going into games like we have, expecting to win and not feeling like the underdog in the games has really helped too. I think we kind of have in our minds now that we're just as good as anyone else in the state. But I think some things we need to improve on is just our defense as a whole. Playing Kokomo, we played really good post defense, obviously against Flory, but it didn't really test our perimeter defense and other zones of our defense. And I think improving on that and obviously just getting better every day as a whole, and I think we'll be good. Yeah.
When you guys are practicing, what things are you looking for to make sure that you'll win the next game? Like, do you practice certain drills against certain teams, or?
Yeah, like we usually, day before games, we usually do scout team where we have JV come over and they kind of play as like the team we're about to play.
Yeah.
They run some sets and play their kind of defense. And so, yeah, most of our practices during the season are kind of designed to prep us for the next game.
Big one tomorrow night.
Yeah.
One of the best guards in the state, obviously Logan, as well as Nick's really emerged as one of the top big men. What do you guys need to do in order to slow them down, especially, Logan from a guard standpoint?
Yeah. I think obviously definitely Obviously, it's going to be hard to stop Logan. He's going to get his, but I think just slowing him down as much as possible and keeping Nick out of the paint and making him earn his own.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously, our defense is going to be huge because we've played teams that have good guards, and we've played teams that have a good big, but we haven't really played both yet, which Zionsville has both. And so we're going to need to really be engaged on the defensive end, and obviously we're going to need to keep up with their scoring too because they're a high motor team, and yeah.
We're a really physical team, and I realized that after the Kokomo game. Like, we are extreme, like, we are energetic, we're full of energy. I feel like that's something that last year's team didn't have all around. Like, we this year we have 5 players on the court that are high energy and will stay like that for 99% of the game. What do you think is a difference in that we didn't have last year?
I would say I think we kind of knew that we were really gonna have to pick up the pace from losing all the seniors from last year. And obviously, like I said earlier, like last year had a lot of skillful players, and so we knew this year like we weren't gonna have as much skill, so we're gonna have to do everything else that we can, which includes being high energy, just playing fast, playing together, and just playing as one. So.
Yeah, I got one more kind of unrelated. Obviously you have a connection to the Pacers. They've been playing pretty well this year.
Yeah.
I think that has been surprising a lot of people. Does that surprise you at all?
I mean, it did at the start of the season because I think at the start of the season we're imagining we're probably going to be tanking and being one of the bottom teams in the league, just try to get a good pick. But obviously now Tyrese Halliburton's been playing really well, and I mean, obviously, it's kind of like the Westfield situation, to be honest, because like we just got a lot of like really good guys that play for each other and play as one team, and obviously it works. So
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. I mean, you're winning on all sides of life right now. Pacers are winning, basketball team's winning. I mean, it's a great time to be Trey Buchanan right now. You have any last words before you have to head over to film?
Man, just thanks for having me.
You'll definitely be on later on in the season, and we'll have you on here. We'll get you a seat. So thank you, Trey Buchanan, for coming on this morning. I know you probably didn't want to. It's so early on. We're filming on Thursday, and we usually film on Wednesdays. So thank you very much, Trey, and good luck Friday against Zionsville.
Yeah, Trey, thank you. I'd be curious to hear who the scout team Logan Imes is.
Oh man, scout team Logan Arms. We'll see who it is today. Yeah.
Oh boy, that's gonna be interesting. Well, cool, man. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
No problem.
After that little talk with Trey Buchanan, we're gonna go into the games that Westfield has played thus far for guys basketball, and then we'll head on to girls basketball. But I really want to touch on this Westfield versus Kokomo game. We needed this win. We definitely needed this win.
Yeah, I mean this was a fun one. The crowd was lively. To open a season on a Saturday after break, we brought a lot of people. But it would be dumb to not acknowledge the fact that Kokomo brought a ton of people as well. This was just one of those high energy, sectional feel kind of games. And my main takeaway was we had sort of been hearing it all week from the players about what the scout was for Flory Badunga, who's obviously one of the top 5 players in the entire country. So obviously they put Armani and Seth on him for the most part when he didn't have the ball, and then they would just quickly send a double team every time he touched it. Obviously, it's a little bit easier to scout for him this year compared to last year in the regional. So, but it worked out, to a T, and we were able to pretty much limit his touches, which helped us for the most part limit his scoring, although he did have 18. But yeah, heck of a defensive effort in the post. Like Trey said, didn't really have to worry too much on the perimeter. But, just a good morale-boosting win to start the season.
We can stick with them on the defensive side. I feel like our defenses were pretty even until the fourth quarter. But what really sets us apart is our offense. We held them to their most points in a quarter was 13. It was 6, 8, 12, 13. So they got better each quarter. But we exploded in the fourth quarter. It was, I believe, 14-10 in favor of Kokomo at halftime, which automatically I knew like this is going to be a Carmel game, like so low scoring. And then we come out with 14 in the third and then 23 in the fourth. That was mainly because of free throws. With 2 minutes left, they started fouling guys. Romack had some clutch free throws.
He sure did.
I'm going to check to see.
Yeah, while you look at that, it felt like going into the season, Trey and Alex were going to be a constant no matter what, and it was really just a question of what was going to be around those two. Sam Bishop had a great game.
He did, yes.
Very efficient scoring, hit two threes that were pretty critical, at certain times. And another name to watch is sophomore Will Harvey came in, and he sort of took over that second guard role in the second half. Felt like Coach Sumter sort of found a little bit of trust in him against Kokomo, and maybe that was because their guards were not all that good. But, we've known Will to be a very athletic, talented kid who's been a heck of a basketball player his whole life. It was really just a matter of, like, at what point was he going to be trusted to do that?
Yeah.
And it seems like pretty early from game one, that might be what we're going to see going forward.
Yeah. Westfield's free throw shooting was dang near perfect. You had Trey went 2 for 3. Harvey went 3 for 4. Bishop was perfect, 2 for 2. Seth Laravia was 1 for 2. And Alex Romack was 6 for 8. So no one missed more than 2 free throws all night, which was so dang impressive. They went 14 for 19 as a team. And then the 3-ball was lighting up in some areas. We had a whole lot of players attempt a 3-pointer. Trey hit 1, Sam hit 2, Seth hit 1, and Alex Romack hit 1. So I think I've seen this a couple times in the first 2 games. Alex Romack is going to experiment with the 3-ball this year. He tried 1 or 2 against Pendleton Heights, and he tried 3 against Kokomo, and he only hit 1. But one's better than 0. It's better than not trying any at all. I know last year he maybe tried 4 3-pointers. So this team is coming out hot, definitely, for sure.
What's your opinion on the Romack 3-point shooting?
I'm liking that he's trying it. He's definitely developed it a lot more from last year. I've talked with him, and he said whenever he traveled this year over the offseason during the summer, he experimented with it a lot, and he said he had better results. So he said he's going to try and hit that more, and it's working, I guess, so far. I mean, he's doing way better than he was last year.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see what happens later on in the season if he develops it more and he starts getting to it consistently.
Yeah.
I
mean, certainly it's a little weird for me, having grown up with him, playing basketball with him since 4th grade. He had never been a shooter, and he never really ever practiced it at any point. So just seeing him sort of develop that niche like this late in his career is a little weird, but it's also not shocking because you know how hard he works and how dedicated he is to fine-tuning his game, and that's something that obviously he valued as something that would help this team, and was willing to put in the work to do it. And like you said, I mean, he's already hit 1 so far this season, so who's to say he won't continue to drill him the rest of the year?
Yep. That was the first win of the season. The second win came on Tuesday against Pendleton Heights. Shamrocks won that one 49-39. 17-point first quarter, came out hot. We were up, I believe, 15-0, 13-0.
15 zip.
Yeah, it was a great offensive start to the game. And then defense did their job, didn't allow more than 14. So I think a common recurrence that we're going to see this year is Westfield's defense coming up clutch. I mean, I feel like we scout really well for teams, and this will show, especially later on in the season once we start getting into conference play, especially Friday. 17 in the first, 9 in the second, 8 in the third, and then 15 in the fourth. That was, again, free throw matter. Top scorer. Let's check this out. Top scorer for Westfield was Alex Romack. Dropped 17. tried a three-pointer, did not make it. He was 0 for 1. The team as a whole, trying the three-ball Tuesday night was not so good. There was Trey. He hit one. He was 1 for 5, and Will Harvey was 1 for 3. Everyone else, Sam Bishop tried 6, and he made 0.
Yep.
I know he was frustrated with that result. But what are your thoughts from this game? I know there was a pretty small student section. Just the three of you. But what were your thoughts?
Yeah, this was certainly, a game where, I got to give coaching staff a lot of credit. A spot like this after a huge win, traveling to Pendleton Heights, who, would be pretty easy to just glance over, especially on a cold Tuesday night. The coaching staff had these kids ready to go. And, more than anything, like having a quick 15-0 start was critically important. If you get off to a bad start in a game like that, that's when, we see it at every single level. You get down early and you just cannot crawl back and win that game. And obviously that would have been pretty disappointing to lose to Pendleton Heights. So, it felt like the energy offensively and defensively trying to push the ball up the court was really, really good to start the game. Sort of died down a little bit, but you can't fault them for that. So, like I said, a lot of credit to the coaching staff getting these guys ready to go.
Yeah. You look at some of our top scorers, you see a couple names that you wouldn't necessarily see if last year. Alex Romek had 17. Armani Middlebrooks had 12. He was a paint monster in the Pendleton Heights game. He was everywhere, and he hit free throws as well. Let's see here. Armani Middlebrooks went 4 for 4 on free throws. So this was probably his best high school game so far. After that, we had Charles Farrell. Chicken had 7 points. Ooh. He was 1 for 3 on field goals, and then he didn't even attempt a three-pointer. His free throws was 1 for 3, but you look at this and you see a lot of potential there. Charles didn't really see any varsity action last year, but this year you're going to see a lot of players like that where they're not seeing a whole lot of varsity action last year, but they're going to see minutes and minutes and minutes this year. Trey Buchanan had 7. Will Harvey had his 1-3. Sam Bishop, I believe, had a bucket, maybe free throws, and then Seth had 1. So overall, Sam Bishop said it best. This was a trap game. Mm-hmm. Pendleton Heights could have exploded, and they definitely could have beat us if they had a little bit of an effort there in the fourth quarter. But overall, it was a really good game, and now we look on to the Zionsville game.
Yeah.
Away at Zionsville, first conference game of the year. Zionsville is usually our first conference game of the year. Last year it did not go our way. Barely lost in, I believe, double overtime. This is a winnable game for the Rocks. This definitely is. After seeing the first 2 results of this year, this is 100% we can win this game. And we can win by a lot, too. If our offense steps up like they did in the Kokomo game, and we have the three-point shot working for us, Sam, Trey, they're hitting their shots, we could win this game by a good amount.
Yeah, and it's one of the schedule nuances that goes in the Rocks' favor. This Zionsville team, Logan Imes, one of the best point guards in the state, like I told Trey, he's going to Penn State next year. And you got Nick, I forget his last name. Nick, it's like Reinhardt, I think.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, as the 5-man, huge guy. He's played against Alex his whole life. That dude just gets bigger every single year, and it's impressive. Apart from that, this team does not have much scoring at all. They start 2 sophomores, and that's where I was sort of talking about how this is favorable because these kids are going to be great players, but at this point they're not ready to step up into a scoring role. So as of now, you're only really threatened by 2 guys on this offensive side of the ball. The others, you're going to, if you put the ball in their hands and make them beat you, then obviously you can give them credit for that. But as of right now, like I said, there's not too much they have to worry about. And I went to the Zionsville Carmel game, and Carmel, who wasn't even really that good, they sort of ran Zionsville out of the gym. Zionsville just could not find a way to get the ball in the basket. And if we keep our defensive effort up like we've seen the last 2 weeks, I think we are gonna take care of business pretty handedly here.
Zionsville has one justifiable loss, and that's to Ben Davis. I feel like Ben Davis is one of the state favorites this year. They're kind of like Cathedral of last year. They lost that game on Saturday, 68-54. So it was a pretty big loss, but considering the circumstances,
yeah, it's a good team.
Justifiable. And then they lost to Carmel by 7. As you previously mentioned, Carmel not that great this year. They will certainly have to, play their cards right and develop some really good sets if they want to beat most of the teams on their schedule this year. So you see kind of two opposite teams, like directly opposite. You have Westfield, who's coming into the season better than they expected, starting off 2-0, beating one of the better teams in Indiana in Kokomo. And then you have the Zionsville squad that's struggling so far, lost to Carmel, and then lost a justifiable game to Ben Davis. What are we thinking score-wise here for this game?
I think it's a defensive struggle. I'm going to go Westfield 43, Zionsville 37.
I was thinking something really close to that. I was going to go 43-39 Westfield. So the 43 is a lock. Maybe it'll be 43-38 and we'll both be wrong, but we'll still be close. So it'll be a really good game. Shout out to Zionsville on Friday night. First conference game, you got to show up for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a fun one. We're excited. Theme is camo. So wear your camo. We're gonna be hunting some eagles. So
heck, yes,
gonna be a fun one. But like you said, we're excited, and I think the team's excited to sort of see. Obviously the Zionsville atmosphere is good, or the Kokomo atmosphere was great, but there's something also about your first true road test with a tough environment, and so it'll be fun to see how the boys are able to handle that. But
are the Rocks boys making a video for this one?
Not a video. Post will go up today.
All right.
So yeah, we're excited.
Look out for that one, boys. Now we move on to the girls team. Girls team, pretty successful thus far. I'm kind of surprised. That may sound terrible for me, but I am pretty surprised. They've had a fairly tough schedule this year, and they are, I believe, 5-2, something like that. They had a win over Mount Vernon on Tuesday, and the offense is really, really popping here. What are your thoughts on this girls team so far?
Yeah, like we said, this was a team that lost a lot. This team has a lot of younger players that have been asked to step up. And like you said, under first-year head coach, the fact that they have been able to step up and win these games so far this season is pretty impressive, And these aren't like wins against bad teams either. We talked about the North Central win was a big one, as well as Pendleton's always going to be a good win. Pike, and obviously Fishers, we were hyping that up to be one of the best teams in the state. Hung in there on the road, only got beat by 6. So this is a team, like you said, we weren't really sure what to expect with a lot of fluctuation with the structure of this program, but it's been I would say pretty much a success so far.
The offense is there. Ellie Kelleher, we're gonna mention her a lot this year, especially in our recaps. 11 points, leads the team in scoring, leads the team in about every Braden Smith stat that he led in last year. Ellie Kelleher leads this year. Second, though, Reagan Lorenzen. She hit 3 threes in the game against Mount Vernon and put up 9 points. You got Emery Collinsworth with 5, Kiki Lovelace with 5. You're seeing a whole lot of consistent scoring here by this team. And that's what you need in a winning basketball team, is you need consistency. You can't be one of those teams where they put up 39 and then 68 and then back down to 20. You have to be consistent, and that's where the boys and girls team does best. They are consistently it doesn't matter if it's low or not. They're consistent enough to put the same numbers up and get the same results almost every game.
Yeah. And one of the things we had talked about, a couple weeks ago was Would this team be able to continue to shoot the ball at a high clip, because they were shooting 40% from three, and obviously that's gone down as expected, but still some of the girls who are having the most minutes, we look at Ellie, Aubrey Crockett, both shooting over 35% from beyond the arc, and if they can continue those numbers, they're going to be in good shape, and like we said, be a threat come February, March.
They have a big away game against a really good Warsaw team. Both teams enter in 5-2. The game is on Saturday at Warsaw, so I know it's going to be a little bit of a drive, but if you can and you're somehow in the area for whatever reason, you should definitely go to that game. Something about this Warsaw team, they're a first half team for sure. They're averaging about 33 points in the first half, and then they kind of level off in the third and fourth quarter. So Warsaw has a high scoring offense, but their defense is not really there. Their two losses were big blowout losses to two less likely successful teams. And Westfield's offense is consistent, just not high as Warsaw's, but their defense is certainly there. So it'll be a really interesting game. I'm waiting to see how that pans out. What's your score prediction for this game?
I think Westfield marches up there and takes care of business. We'll go 41-33.
41-33,
yeah,
Westfield.
What about you?
I'm saying Westfield's offense overpowers theirs. I'll go 55-38 Westfield. The defense will really show up in this game, and it'll expose Warsaw's one weakness, and we'll get the road win.
Sure.
Alan, do we have a mailbag question or anything?
One more shout out. I mean, Warsaw game's a big one, but they also have both Carmel and Zionsville at home next week.
Yeah,
two
that's
big games.
Yeah.
So if you're in the area like you should be, make sure to get out to those. I know we'll definitely be there for the Carmel game and then maybe the Zionsville game too.
I'm getting a call from Alan. Al, what's up? What's up, Alan? Oh my goodness.
Is that better?
I guess.
You're just gonna have to say mailbag.
Okay, I'm gonna say the mailbag. All right, he sends to me. All right, what's your Spotify Wrapped looking like so far this year?
Oh boy.
I know Sam uses Apple Music, but I think that's out. If you had to guess, what were your top 5 artists?
Wow. So, Call Me Basic, Kanye and Drake were definitely 1 and 2,
Okay.
I think this was sort of the year that I discovered Kanye West's original music.
Yeah.
There'd been a lot of people in my life who obviously huge Kanye advocates, and I sort of embraced some of the older music he wrote. Now that does not justify some of the stuff that's gone on with him over the past few months.
Yeah.
And that's pretty deep stuff that we don't need to talk to, but certainly prime Kanye West was one of the best. Drake as well. Drake's released 3 albums this year?
Something like that.
2 or 3, and the first couple weren't great, but
Her Loss.
Her Loss.
Wow.
Man, I tell you what, that's been on repeat for the past 3 weeks or so. Just fine tuning what the lyrics are so I can sing it in the car. So Kanye, Drake, certainly a lot of country as well. Zach Brown Band is probably number 3. Went to their concert this year, obviously a really, really fun one. And then also, you dive into some of the weirder music in my selection. There's some Rihanna in there.
All right. Whatever works.
Me and the boys have been vibing to Rihanna, as well as one of the classic ones I've always loved is Hall & Oates. So
Heck yes.
yeah. So I would say that's probably the top 5 right now.
All right. My top artist. I'm gonna preface this by saying I have the music taste of like a 12-year-old.
Okay.
So my top 5 is gonna reflect that.
Sure.
1 is Uzi.
Okay.
2 is Travis Scott.
Okay.
Which I did not expect those 2 to even be in my top 5 after like the later parts of the year.
Sure.
3 is Drake. 4 is Playboi Carti, and 5 is The Weeknd. So when I'm telling you like Fortnite, Travis Scott, like that's prime. My top songs, 2 of them were from the same album. My 1 and 2 were from the same album. Sacrifice is number 1. Less Than Zero, number 2. Hit My Shoulder by Lil Uzi Vert, 3. 7:12 p.m. by Future is number 4. And then Mr. Right Now by 21 Savage featuring Drake.
That's a good one.
20,000 minutes listened. Obviously, my top genre is rap. My top artist was Lil Uzi Vert. 1,800 minutes. Listen, I'm in the top 0.5% of listeners. Now, if I go to my top songs, I'm going to see a whole lot of stuff. Sorry about that. Some weird songs that I've thought, how'd that get in there? Flying Ghetto by Ayo and Teo. That I don't know how that got in there. Get Throwed by Don Toliver.
So good. That's so good.
Let's see here. Going Nowhere by Hardy, Morgan Wallen, and a whole bunch of other people. That was my country, quote unquote, country phase. Hail Purdue, the marching band version.
Okay.
Don't know how that got in there. That's weird. Then you have your timeless classics like, Silly Watch and Cash In, Cash Out.
Yeah.
What else here? White House Road by Tyler Childers.
Is Cash In, Cash Out a timeless classic already?
I guess so. I mean, it's a very good song.
You can make a case.
Yes. What else we got in here? Pump It Up by Endure.
Oh,
It Was a Good Day by Ice Cube. Like, I'm everywhere. Like, I'm everywhere.
That's good stuff.
It's so weird. Yeah. And then you have Moon by Kanye West at the very bottom. There's not a whole lot of songs from Donda on there.
Yeah, that surprises me.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to Donda a lot this year, and I'm not sure what happened there.
Maybe it was December you were listening to Donda.
That's right.
And then you stopped.
And then I just stopped once January 1st hit, and it's weird.
I actually got the Apple Replay pulled up.
Okay.
I was kind of completely wrong. Not necessarily. Number 1 Kanye, number 2 Drake, and then a big drop off. 3 Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, okay.
4 Gunna, 5 Travis, 6
All
The
right.
Weeknd. So a lot more rap than I thought.
Yeah.
Which is fine,
Yeah.
But it's fine. Yeah, a lot of good stuff in here. Nothing too surprising. So.
What's the weirdest song? If they give you like a top 50, what's the weirdest song?
Huh.
Or the most out there, like not normal to your playlist?
Pump It Up is pretty high on there.
No way.
Yeah.
It's funny how we both have that
So good.
in our top like 50s.
Ooh. We Ready? We Ready.
You got to bump something in the student section before game. Gosh.
Easy Lover by Philip Bailey and Phil Collins. That is a banger.
That's awesome.
I'll put you on that one if you haven't heard it.
All right.
I love this.
Yeah, I mean, that'll basically wrap it up for
Yeah.
this episode of the Shamrocks Sportscast. It was a great episode today. I tell you what, it was a great conversation with Trey Buchanan, and good to know. Now you guys know our music playlist a little bit more, and our tastes. Once Aiden comes back, you may be wondering, we didn't say anything.
No.
Where's Aiden? He's recovering from a stomach surgery that he had over Thanksgiving break. He'll be back. I think he said the week before Thanksgiving, or not the week. Wow, week before Christmas. So we'll have him on for one more episode before we end out the year. Prayers up to him. His recovery's going well, from what I hear. And yeah, he'll be back soon, guys. But for now, it's just Sam and I, and we'll get a guest on every week. So, any last words, Sam?
Yeah, like you said, just. Please keep Aiden in your prayers. Obviously, recovery has been pretty good so far, but, we just want him to, continue to be safe and healthy, and we wish him a speedy recovery. So, especially it's a tough time to get a major surgery like that during the holidays with a lot going on. So, just keep him in your thoughts, and, certainly we love him as a friend, and, wish him the best. So
yeah, it's never fun to have surgery around Christmas time. I had my wisdom teeth taken out 2 days after Christmas,
boy.
1 year, so that was tough. But at least Christmas had already come and gone.
Still got to eat your Christmas cake.
Exactly. Aiden will be back before Christmas, and I hope he'll be fully healthy for the holiday season. So Yeah, and I think that'll do it for this episode of the Shamrocks Sportscast. I was going to say Stay Breezy and Go Rocks, but that's a Westfield Sports Show thing. That premieres at noon today.
Yes.
Yeah, peace out, guys.
Peace.